out, you'll see. You'll pay for this. The emerald's mine. Do you hear? Mine. No more stupid tourists in this tomb.
The ride, Terror Tomb, I mean, it was meant to be a scary ride anyway, but it was frightening from a manufacturer's point of view to deliver it.
They'll get you in there. They'll get you all right.
The Fifth Dimension's time had come to an end. Despite its creative design, the ride had got off to a troubled start. Tussauds sought to replace the ride with a whole new concept.
Bit more violence, Ken.
Nick Farmer makes the monsters for ghost trains. Ken's his chief screamer.
You have to twist your mind slightly to think of all the horrible things that you might present to the public. But I guess everybody's got that real nasty streak really deep down, which they can reveal if they work at it. How do you think it's going to come out?
The head will extend up about 1.5 feet.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I got to know John Wardley over the years, and he came along with this project out of the blue. Really, I didn't pitch for the work. He decided that we were the ones he wanted to work with on this, and it was a huge challenge, I must say.
As well as other parks over Europe, Farmer Studios had created animated characters for Chessington in the early 90s, such as Frazzle the Dragon and Pegleg Pete.
I was the first person Nick employed. I was really from a theatre background. But then Nick wanted somebody to join him on this venture of building animated toy displays. Nick's brother, he'd got a hosiery factory, and so we just made a workshop in this hosiery factory before we moved to the premises.
I'd done my degree and I couldn't get a job anywhere, and there was a job advertised for a studio junior, and I literally pleaded down the phone and Nick Farmer said come for an interview and gave me a job, so yeah. And in those days you started at the very, very bottom in the studio.
Right, yeah.
That's where you started no matter what qualifications you had, and you worked your way up. That's how it was. And although Farmer's was immensely professional, it really was, you know, it was also massively passionately led. People worked for hours.
In the beginning, we made a huge model, and there were all sorts of crazy things.
Up until then, we'd worked on quite small projects. But I remember that it had to grow to 50 or 60 people from, I don't know, 15 of us or 20 of us, all of a sudden. And it was so scary. I do remember the day Nick came to us with this project, and we had a bit of a meeting, got together, and he explained what it was. And I remember him saying, we've really got to think seriously about whether we can do this. And I said I was just so terrified of it just running away with us, because it could easily do that. You know, I remember the early story that I've got, the odd sketch of the character with his dog, and it was a friendlier story, you know, it wasn't so scary.
Tombstone tours would have taken riders on a journey through a treasure tomb, encountering a band of robbers and looters, and escaping from ancient booby traps.
We thought, wouldn't it be fun if there was a collection of things which have been lost? Some famous racehorse had been kidnapped and never seen again. We thought we could put that in there. Wouldn't it be fantastic as if by magic these lost things have all ended up in another time and place?
We used to have meetings at Farmer Studios, and they were good fun sometimes. You know, you start laughing about real stupid ideas, but often the good ideas came out of those jokes. Nick would sit there in that meeting and he'd get really quite annoyed sometimes that we were just larking about.
I forget who came up with the idea of that final show, because it was a very collaborative thing. Myself and Steve Pearce and a few others would sit around a table and just keep throwing out ideas.
Despite the initial free rein given to Farmer Studios, Chessington asked that the ride become more promotable as a horror attraction. The design needed to be quickly revised.
There was suddenly a big change, and I think the customer wanted a much scarier project, but we were just well into it by then, and we may have even been starting to build things, and we'd got people that were coming into the company that we were having to pay, and that all added to that roller coaster that was running away.
This was perfectly designed here as well to hide the split lines. So quite often we've tried to do this on other things that we've done to try and hide the split lines, put a sort of goatee beard on, have these slopes.
What are you doing here? Get out! It's closed. Shut, get it? No more stupid tourists in this tomb.
There's something weird about animatronic figures. I think if they were so perfect, it just looked like a person. It's almost pointless to do that.
Come back! You'll not get out.
The fact that they're slightly robotic gives them a bit of a hypnotic effect.
The emerald's mine, do you hear? Mine! I'm telling you, they'll get you in there. They'll get you all right.
That's essentially the process. Build the sets, get them painted, bring in the gadgets, the props, the animations, and connect it all up and light it.
And also, we definitely had the spikes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Definitely got a model of that somewhere.
I must admit at the time I didn't have a lot of confidence in that continuity of the story, how it was changed. It got pulled and pushed around, and then all of a sudden there was a press day at Chessington, and I had to go and meet the press and take the model in a company van and set the whole thing up in this boardroom on a table. And the press came in, and I had to explain the ride and go through it and tell them the sequence of events and describe the story, which to me was so full of disjointed gaps.
8 character animatronics were created for the new story thread, as riders follow Abdab as he tries to steal the treasure for himself at any cost.
Abdab, for instance, I remember it going eyes left, eyes right. I was working with a guy and someone was actually manually just pressing the solenoids with a screwdriver, making sure they all went. He shouted, mouth open, mouth closed, and then the guy shouted mouth closed, then shouted mouth open again, and he actually put his finger into his mouth. And he had proper teeth marks in his finger, and he sort of looked at it. I thought, I'm sure Abdab, he had the scars to prove it as well. He's been knocking around the workshop for how long? 20 years.
That's always important. There's sort of a mix of a sense of humour and then a bit of fear and so on. The biggest hit in terms of fear was after the finale show, when you went into a tunnel and a set of alcoves with a skeleton in each triggered and fell towards people. That was the most frightening bit.
And finally, by March 1994, the enormous task of transforming the 5th dimension into Terror Tomb was complete.
words to describe the amazement, because I suddenly thought, this is it. We've done this one. It's done, you know. That's what people have come to experience. And I didn't know of anywhere else at that time in the UK that had any ride with that level of detail.
Miss Ulrika Johnson.
When it first opened and the first group of children went through it, we were all absolutely on our knees, physically, having had very little sleep.
I've obviously lost my touch, but
What are you doing? Get up! Get out here!
And the children went through and all started screaming, and you thought, oh, fantastic, we've done it.
I can remember the first time I rode the ride, and when you got the speech, you know, get out of this tomb, feeling that prickling in the back of my neck, thinking, it's here now, it exists, this story that we imagined is here.
You've gone too far now, stupid fools. I warned you, you've had your last chance. If you think this is bad, just you wait, I'll stop you that emerald's mine. You again. This will finish you. You're going to get spiked. What's happening? What's this? A secret passage. I think I'm onto something. Here it is. I found it. Nearly come to abduct my beauty.
Marked down the achievements in your life, that would definitely have been one which ticked lots of boxes for lots of people, and they said at that time this is extraordinary because it's a different level of detail and quality, and there was a buzz about it, and people were saying this is pushing the boundaries. You know, I felt like we were taking those steps in the right direction towards being like Disney and coming up with a story and wanting to animate it and wanting good music and drama and fear and laughter. It was all kind of there. So, yeah.
It was really interesting going to the recording studio, recording the spook guitarist.
I was there at the studio when the session guitarist was there and the guy who sang the track. He was one of the lead singers from ELO. He got an amazing voice. But I wanted it to be really quite twisted and distorted and scary. I didn't want it to sound too ordinary. At one point we were doing the backing parts, you know, sort of musical, whatever. And I got these headphones on, but I couldn't hear the music. They weren't playing the music to me. and they just kept stopping it. And Nick told me afterwards that my voice sounded absolutely awful, and I was totally out of tune. But the guitarist was absolutely incredible. He did that take so many times. I was just really impressed. Graham would just describe a particular phrase and said, could you just bring this a bit more up? It sounded so impulsive and so sort of immediate. This guitarist was incredible.
You won't get out of here!